Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any mentions of rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean that the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal or tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. All rights reserved.
Coming up today, how to identify the financial and economic stories that are causing concern and confusion, cut through the noise, and offer you some peace of mind in your retirement planning journey.
And now, how to retire with Fuchs Financial.
The main thing for the majority of the listeners out there who are approaching retirement is I don't want to be surprised.
Helping you build, preserve, and manage your wealth.
You got Roth IRAs, you got individual accounts, and finding the right taxable strategy, that's going to be huge for you.
Welcome in to How to Retire with Ben Fuchs.
Welcome on into the show. This is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm your consumer advocate, Gary Nolan. And here to help you take charge of your money is Ben Fuchs. Ben is a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor professional, and fiduciary with over 20 years experience in the business. I'd like to welcome Ben in. First of all, thank you all for joining us. It's great to be with you. Let me give you the phone number, and this way you can get the How to Retire blueprint. Ben will be talking about that throughout the show. It's very important that you get this. It really will set you up for peace of mind, and you want to be stress-free in retirement, but it all starts by picking up the phone and dialing these numbers, 800-380-8985, 800-380-8985. Ben Fuchs. Hello, sir. How are you?
Doing well, Gary. How are you, my friend?
I am doing good. We got a fun show. When you hear these clips, I'm going to play for you in just a minute. So there's a new clip making the rounds and going viral on social media featuring Jared Bernstein. He is the chair of the United States Council of Economic Advisors, attempting to explain monetary policy. Now, he was filming a piece for a documentary, Finding the Money. Kind of left more questions than answers. So we're going to have you break this down. What better than our own financial professional, Mr. Fuchs, to break this down for us,
To be fair, let it be known to the listeners that while I am going to break this down, I have yet to hear it. So I am looking forward to this as much as you are.
You see, that's what I love. I mean, it's like we'll get your reaction to it as you hear it for the first time. So here we go. Here it is.
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Since they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like me trying to explain monetary policy. I don't understand that at all.
That's horrifying.
Help it! I know that's the reaction everybody's getting when you play this clip. Something's wrong here. I don't know what's the matter with them.
All right, so the question was, like you said, they print the dollar, so why does the government even need to borrow? Well, it's a great question. I'm not going to give you that answer, but you would think that the chair of the United States Council of Economic Advisors would not be so hung up on a statement that he himself made. Hey, just explain yourself, man. You made the statement. I will tell you what that does not do. Inspire confidence.
Yes. It does not. Not at all. No.
That was almost horrifying. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the government prints money, correct? Is that right? Is that what happens?
Yeah, they print money and they loan money out, and they need money to manage. I mean, think about any household, any small business. I mean, look, you want to buy a house, most people will get a mortgage, right? You want to buy something, you can't get it right now, but you need it. You use a credit card, or you just want the points. I mean, there are reasons why people use leverage. Businesses can be very successful and very profitable, and they still borrow money. Apple borrows money even though they have billions of dollars in reserves, right? It's just part of doing business. Now, is it necessary? Do they need to have the, whatever it is, $38 trillion in debt right now? No. I mean, that is cause for concern, and will continue to be, but that's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, does the government sell bonds? I want to know about that. Is that true?
Why is that? Like, how is that Treasury bonds, I bonds, EE bonds? Yes, they sell bonds. What kind of question is that?
Right, exactly. All right. Well, before we get into the next clip, which you'll thoroughly enjoy, I want to remind everybody, the show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm Gary Nolan, your consumer advocate. I want to thank you for joining us. Let's get you the phone number, get that comprehensive report. It's a clear understanding of everything that is going on, unlike Mr. Bernstein's trying to explain monetary policy to us. Anyway, that phone number is 800-380-8985, the How to Retire Blueprint. Like I said, no cost or no obligation. So what are you waiting for? Get on the phone right now, 800-380-8985. And if you want to talk to Ben after the show, he'll call you back, and he'll explain monetary policy to you better than Mr. Bernstein will, I'm sure.
He will definitely have somebody else call you back, and he will be excited to talk about monetary policy as it relates to your financial plan.
That sounded, like I said, that sounded like me trying to describe that. All right, so, like I said, a lot to unpack here. Now we're going to circle back to the analysis of bonds, whether the federal government can go bankrupt in more than just a moment. Here's the second clip from Mr. Bernstein.
So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
I think there's a lot confusing there. I don't understand the whole thing. I mean, this gentleman is supposed to be an expert on economic policies, correct? I mean, I don't want to rip into him, but something's going on there, man. Seriously.
I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe the guy was trying to toe a fine line and he get caught up with his words. I mean, I guess that can happen. Look, I too found it confusing what he said. I mean, look, printing money and borrowing money are both things that raise inflation. Right, it weakens the dollar. Right, there's more money out there, so those are look at long-term economic impacts, and I don't really quite get the point that he's trying to make, and I don't see why he would say it's not confusing because he didn't explain anything.
Yeah. So, what is MMT? It's modern monetary theory. Can you go through some of this for us? And we have about 4 or 5 minutes left, so take your time, Ben, and explain it so our listeners will understand it better than Mr. Bernstein.
Okay, so modern monetary theory. So it appeared as if he was uncomfortable with those topics or unclear about them, with so much uncertainty out there regarding these topics that can have a significant impact on your retirement and your financial position as you save for your future. It's essential that we clear up the confusion on this one. So what can we do and what should we do? So one critical error is becoming hyper-focused on the headlines as the worry, fear, and the concern eclipses the needs or wants or goals and progress of your personal financial plan. The reality is that the retirement decision should never be dictated by market performance or the economic environment. You should focus on your overall financial situation for retirement and navigate ahead, focusing on what will help to work you build that income for retirement, what works for you, and tune out some of the noise, as not all of it is valuable in painting the picture of your retirement blueprint. So again, the focus here is on when I first meet with somebody and they want to bring their money over, they say, well, I should probably wait to move my money from my 401k over because it just took a dip and I should wait till it comes back, right? And I say, absolutely not. Because we need to do this based on your scenario right now. We don't need to wait until things go up. We don't need to try and time the market. That could take 3 months. That could take 3 years. You could be in a worse position if you don't do something now. The question is, if we make that change now, will you be in a better position for it? And as long as the answer is yes, then we move forward. And there's risk that it can go up and we will have lost out. And there's also risk that it could go down further and we will be in trouble.
Do you find that you have a lot of clients that are like, I guess for lack of a better word, market watchers and react strongly one way or another, depending? I mean, a couple of weeks ago, the Dow hit 40,000. Everybody's going crazy. Yay! But how does that translate to the average investor, Ben?
I happened to be live on CBS the day after that happened, so that was a fun. Yeah, that was a fun time because, of course, I told them it was all because I was on air because I was scheduled. That's why the Dow. And then that day, it actually closed above 40,000. So, but yeah, I mean, I have clients that look at this stuff every day and they don't feel comfortable unless they check the market once or twice or 5 times a day. And to be fair, I do it too, but it's also my job. It is what I do for a living. And also there are things that I'm looking for on a day-to-day basis for the investments for my clients, not necessarily trying to time the market, but also looking for certain benchmarks of when certain things can happen, and that'll change when we do invest and when we plan certain pieces. I mean, there are certain times when, for my clients, I can get a higher rate of return if the volatility index is higher. So that's one of those things that I monitor and progress. But there's no question that a lot of people out there just watch the market every single day, and they do that knowing that it doesn't matter what happens in the market. They're not really going to change anything. They're watching it with the idea that they're not going to buy or sell anything. They're just watching it because they're anxious. And if you're one of those people and you want to remove some of that anxiety, that would be a great reason to give us a call. If all this monetary policy is getting you confused, if you're frustrated about the upcoming election and you're worried that the market can go down, even though there's evidence to say that that's unlikely, I would say that's important for you to talk to a financial advisor. The mistakes that we see a lot of people make is when they get, I would say, scared or confused, and they feel like, hey, they just need to sell everything now and put their money on the sidelines. And that's fine. You need to listen to your gut sometimes, but also understand the statistical likelihood of your impact, right? What happens when you move all that money to the sideline? How likely are you to lose money as opposed to gain money? And what can a real plan actually help you with? I met with a client the other day, and all of her money was in CDs. And she had heard me talk before. She says, Ben, I know I need to take some risk. I just don't know how to do it. And so we went through a plan. And I showed her how we can take some money and risk without having to worry about the market crashing, showing that the market crashing will really have no impact on her day-to-day income. And by doing that, we create that peace of mind. And that's what the Retirement Blueprint is all about, the How to Retire Blueprint. We want to help show you how to retire. How can we replace that monthly income? How can we create the right investments to do that? How can we do that in a way that's going to be tax efficient for you, and a way that you can have your estate planning taken care of for you, and also your health concerns. What do you look at for Medicare, for health insurance, et cetera? That all needs to be taken care of in one place, and that's why we have our How to Retire Blueprint.
Yeah, let me give you that phone number. Get on Ben's calendar. Claim your spot right now, 800-380-8985. Your chance to benefit from the How to Retire Blueprint. Call right now. We still have a limited number of availabilities on our calendar this week. And remember, the consultation is offered at no cost or no obligation. What are you waiting for? 800-380-8985. You want to be able to sleep well at night. We call it SWAN, sleep well at night. All right, 800-380-8985, the How to Retire Blueprint. All right, we'll take a short break. Be back with more of Ben and How to Retire in just a moment. What's up next, sir?
I'm looking forward to this one. 2 retirement planning gurus are butting heads about the issue of retirement planning and investing. Where's the beef and what is the bottom line? We cover that and break it all down when we come back.
He's letting the clock run out on his Social Security to age 70 for maximum benefits. And here comes the Roth conversion. He's locked in for income for life. He's got some outstanding coaching with that annuity plan. He's created his own pension as well, and it looks like he's going to go all the way.
Play your best retirement game. Call Ben Fuchs at Fuchs Financial, 800-380-8985, 800-380-8985.
Welcome back to the show. This is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm your consumer advocate, Gary Nolan. And back with us to help you take charge of your money is Ben Fuchs. Ben is a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor, professional, and fiduciary with over 20 years' experience. And Mr. Bernstein is coming over to Ben's house later today, and Ben's going to explain monetary policy to him. So, you know.
We're going to be in real trouble if I have to explain monetary policy. That's to the chief economic advisor. Like that will be. I don't mind explaining it to my kids if I try to, but then I can use stuffed animals. If I've got to do that with him, we're in trouble.
Well, you know, it's Memorial Day weekend, and we're going to have a little barbecue. I'm coming over later, Ben. I'll bring the beer. Is that okay?
Can't wait. I hope you bring the food too, because I'm not ready.
Yeah, I can do that. I will do that too. All right, so let's get started on segment number 2 here. Does the 4% rule still hold true? We'll find out in this segment today. Well, anyway, a famous retirement rule of thumb might pose a threat to your bottom line. Now, in retirement, the two retirement analysts are going head-to-head over the topic, okay? The financial gurus include Dave Ramsey and Susan Orman. We're going to break down the famous 4% rule and how it works in theory and practice. So, first of all, Ben, let's, I'm sure our listeners know, but just to refresh their memory, how does the 4% rule work?
The 4% rule was once a staple of retirement planning, and the rule of thumb came down to a theory that would be widely accepted for decades to come. And, you know, anybody that is a consistent listener of the show know that I have some personal feelings on the 4% rule, but I'm not going to express them right now because I want the show to go on.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so those who don't know, it was Ben Began, 1994, about 30 years ago. He started this rule. Am I right, Ben? That's where it all started?
Yeah, discovered by Bill Began in 94. It's been used and seen a lot of traction helping retirees and pre-retirees understand and even making its way onto the financial programs where talking heads and professionals will discuss the merits of the rule. So, listen, as far as guidelines go, it gives people a general idea. Look, if I've got $1 million, then I can take $40,000 a year, 4% from my retirement account, use that to live for the rest of my life, and I should not run out of money. Now, the problem is that 30 years ago, bond rates were much higher. There were different rules and applications. There were different preceding market growth that I think affected the data analysis and the input of that rule. You know, we haven't seen anything like 5% returns in bonds. The last 10 years, it's like 1.4, 1.5, somewhere in that ballpark. So it's important to keep some of that stuff in mind, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, and of course you have to take inflation into account, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, it's not like, you know, we need 40,000 today. We're going to need a lot more 3, 5, 8 years from now. And so, of course, people also look at the way that they spend money, I think, wrong in a lot of cases. They look at what they're spending now and think, all right, I'll need less. And the reality is that you don't need that. You need more, and you're going to want to do more, and you want to take more trips and enjoy yourself. And there are concerns that I have about people waiting too long to go on vacations and things like that. But whole story for a whole of the day. I'm excited to get into the beef and figure out what Dave Ramsey had to say and what Susie Orman had to say. This is always my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, and it's coming up in seconds. But first, I want to remind everybody, the show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm Gary Nolan, your consumer advocate. Thank you for joining us, spending part of your Memorial Day weekend with us. I hope it's a great one for you and a safe one. 800-380-8985, 800-380-8985. Get the How to Retire blueprint. All right, so Dave Ramsey was shocked on his show to learn one of his co-hosts had endorsed a 3% rule. Let's listen in.
I don't know what the hell George is doing a 3% withdrawal rate, because that's just wrong. You don't need to have a 3% withdrawal rate. That's ridiculous. And the S&P is average 11.8, and if inflation for the last 80 years is average 4%, if you make 12 and you need to leave 4% in there for inflation raises, that leaves you 8. I'm perfectly comfortable drawing 8, but if you want to be a little bit conservative, 7, but sure not 5 or 3.
Wow. You want to talk about that before I play Susie's comments?
I would love to talk about that. Yeah, look, I don't always disagree with Dave Ramsey. I don't think that he's a terrible human being. I think a lot of what he says and his ability to help people get out of debt and create a plan and just take a hard stance on things is wonderful. But this is wrong. Why? Great question, Gary. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Because you're taking an 8% or a 7% gain, assuming that you're just going to get that consistently throughout retirement. Look, if the S&P 500 returned 8% on the dot every single year, we wouldn't have a problem. But it doesn't. 2023, it went up whatever it was, 24, 26%. 2022, it went down 19%. You take off, you have $1 million in the end of 2021. You take out $80,000 at the beginning of 2022. You've got, $920,000. Then your portfolio goes down by 19%. We'll call it 20%. Make my math easy. So now you're down another $184,000. You're welcome. And then you take out another, whatever it was, $80,000 because you're using that original $1 million rule as part of your plan. And that's what you planned on for retirement. Man, you don't get the same recovery in 2023. Your money does not recover like it should or like you expected it to. That math simply does not work out. And depending on when you take your money out, going over the last 5 years, look at 2020 during COVID, when the S&P at one point went down by 33%. Now, it finished the year up 16, and that's what people will say. But it's difficult to determine when people have actually sold their money. So I strongly disagree with this. The sequence of returns would have you strongly disagree with this. There are a lot of financial planning white papers that say that this is bad information. And look, I don't hate Dave. I agree with a lot of what he says, but in this instance, I firmly disagree.
All right, let's get to Susie Orman has said the less money you withdraw each year, the better off you'll be in retirement. With Orman shirking Ramsey's recommendations of the 8% rule, she isn't endorsing the 4% rule. Let's see what Susie had to say.
When you are invested in the stock market today and you are taking out 4% a year to live on, you're going to find yourself in big time trouble.
I think it doesn't work anymore. I think it's very dangerous. I think it should be lowered to at least 3%.
Yeah, what do you think of what Susie had to say there?
Again, I totally and completely disagree. So it's not about having a magic number. Remember that old commercial where somebody had like $1 million over their head and 1.5 million and 800,000? I mean, that was wrong too. This idea that there's one magic number. First of all, it changes for every person every year. The important thing for me and my clients is figuring out what their goals are. Right? Do we want to leave money behind to the next generation? All right, look, you have to take out a lower percentage, right? Are you comfortable drawing down the account? All right, cool, we can take out more. That's going to help determine some things. What kind of investments do we have that can generate consistent, predictable interest? Look, at one point, 4 years ago when interest rates were at 1.5%, we could get like 5-6% net interest to our clients. That was a big deal. Now we're looking at 8.5 again. That's great, but that doesn't work all the time. You're taking a certain amount of risk doing that, and you have to be comfortable with that. So this idea that, you must only take 3%, or hey, take 8 or 7%, no problem, I think is bad generic advice. And I'm not going to give you generic advice. I'm telling you to come talk to a financial advisor, and I think that's the goal. We want you to meet with somebody, meet with a financial professional. Yeah, of course we'd like it to be us. That's all we do. But if it isn't, that's okay. You still need advice to figure out what you can do and understand the parameters, how much money you can take comfortably. And that might change every year. Right? That could just change. We're having a great year in the market. It went up 20%. Sure. All right. We can take a little more. Market went down 15%. All right. This is the place where you can take money from without hurting yourself, but we don't want you to take more than this amount because then you might hurt your overall plan. It is a fluid plan, and it should be.
Let's look at some historical averages, Ben, here, starting with 3% and going up to 6% withdrawal rates over the last 50 years. Can you let our listeners know what the research says?
All right, so if we're looking at that standard 60-40 stock bond portfolio, so Bill Bengen, the guy that adopted that 4% rule, it was under the assumption that a retiree's portfolio would be invested 50% in stocks in the S&P 500 and 50% in bonds, bonds being treasuries and middle intermediate duration. So using this asset allocation, he tested a range of first-year withdrawal rates. With a 3% withdrawal rate, all portfolios lasted 50 years. With a 4% withdrawal rate, most portfolios lasted 50 years. In 10 of the 50 years examined in this situation, they did fall short of this mark, although they all lasted about 35 years or longer. Which, to be fair, would be comfortable for most people retiring at 65. You made it to 100. Congratulations. With a 5% withdrawal rate, more than half the portfolios were exhausted in less than 50 years, with the worst portfolios lasting no more than 20 years. And then a 6% withdrawal rate, only 7 portfolios lasted 50 years, with about 10 lasting fewer than 20 years. Now, I don't think most people say, hey, I need my money to last me 50 years. But I do think almost everyone is saying, hey, I need more than 20.
Yeah. I mean, these rules of thumb are great. However, you need an individual plan, something direct for the client themselves, correct?
Without question. So, look, do you think that the person who is ultra conservative, who's had everything in savings and CDs and stable value fund, has gotten the same rate of return over time as the person who has been more aggressive in the S&P 500 and in, small cap technology funds, etc.? No, we know those have had different rates of returns, especially if we look back over a longer period of time, over a 20 or 30-year period of time. With that same thought in mind, we're not advocating for one versus the other. We think that argument is a bad one. We don't want everything in safe, and we don't want everything aggressive. I know advisors that want everything in an index annuity, and I disagree with that. And I know advisors that want everything in individual stocks, and I disagree with that too. The important thing is creating a balance in your portfolio so you know when you'll have your safety, when the market crashes, and when you can take a little bit more when the market goes up. And the third bucket, it's not just safe and growth, the most important bucket in retirement is income. You need a monthly paycheck. And how can we generate consistently that monthly paycheck for you? And for the people that don't want to touch their principal, we have a plan for you where we can generate 6, 7, 8% consistently in interest without having to touch that principal, providing the market doesn't go down by more than 30%, providing it doesn't go crazy. And then we have to have a backup plan. There isn't one fail-safe rule. It's not put your money in the S&P 500, set it and forget it. No, because we've seen that take drastic drops and take years to recover. You need more of a comprehensive plan, and that's why we have the How to Retire Blueprint. The goal is to help you get set up so that you can have peace of mind in retirement and not have to look at the market every single day and hope it hasn't gone down.
Yeah, hope is not a plan, that's for sure. And it all starts by picking up the phone and punching those numbers in, 800-380-8985, 800-380-8985. Your chance to benefit from the How to Retire Blueprint. Call right now. We still have a limited number of availabilities on our calendar. Claim your spot, and the consultation is offered at no cost or no obligation. You want peace of mind. Ben just said it. You deserve a more confident plan to retire, stress-free, peace of mind. Starts by picking up the phone, 800-380-8985. The folks at Fuchs Financial will get back to you just as soon as they can. 800-380-8985. Do it right now. All right, take a short break. Be back with more of Ben and How to Retire in just a moment. What's up next, sir?
There are rules and there are exceptions to rules. Well, when it comes to retirement planning, there should be no ambiguity. When we come back, we have a few important retirement planning rules and the exceptions to these rules.
We believe in better. A better way to invest. A better way to serve you. And a better result. We can help you determine how much risk you're taking, red flags that could be potential problems for you, how much you are paying in fees or commissions, potential tax liability, or even how to address Social Security. Call Ben Fuchs at Fuchs Financial, proudly serving all of Connecticut. Call today, 800-380-8985. 800-380-8985.
Welcome back to the show. Ben Fuchs is with us explaining monetary policy. No, he's not going to do that today. He's going to set you up with a great plan for yourself, an individual plan, the How to Retire Blueprint. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Welcome back in. The show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm Gary Nolan, your consumer advocate. Ben is a certified private wealth advisor professional, certified financial planner, and fiduciary. Over 20 years experience in the financial planning business. And, of course, we are with you each week at this time. The How to Retire Blueprint, it's a comprehensive plan. It's an individual plan. It's your plan for you to move peacefully into retirement. That's what you want. The How to Retire Blueprint, 800-380-8985. All right, so here we go into segment number 3. All right, when it comes to retirement planning, there should be no ambiguity. So we're going to talk about this for a little bit here. The exception of the rule of thumb, the fine print, the amendment. There are so many pieces of information that professionals, without professionals, slip right through the cracks. Now, retirement planning is no different. It's essential, the intricacies of the rules of retirement planning game, or work with someone who does to secure a financial future you deserve. With that in mind, we are going to dive in. You get all that, Ben?
I got it. It's memorized. I can't wait.
I'm glad you did. All right, so here's the first one. Social Security benefits. I'm going to read the rules, and you talk about the exception to the rules. Okay, so apparently there's 2 rules here. Social Security, the first rule, You must wait until you reach full retirement age to be able to collect and work as much as you want without penalty.
All right, let me dive into that.
Take that one first.
So the rule, you have to wait until full retirement age to collect and work as much as you want without penalty. So that is true. You have to wait until full retirement age to work and earn as much as you want without penalty, but that does not mean you need to wait until full retirement age to collect Social Security. If you've retired at 62, that doesn't mean you have to wait until 67 to begin collecting Social Security.
Right, yes.
A lot of people feel that way. And a lot of people, I feel like, are waiting with really no plan in mind. And so if you're one of those people that doesn't feel like they have a plan in mind, that is a great reason to give us a call.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's the second part of that rule. You can claim as early as 62, but after you reach a salary of $22,320 for 2024, they start taking back $1 for every $2 you earn. What about that, Ben?
Yeah, so if you claim at 62, you can earn up to $22,320. You earn more than that, they start taking away some of your money. So you earn another $10, they take away $5 from Social Security. But if you earn another $30,000 or another $50,000, all of a sudden, all of that Social Security money that you've gotten has basically been negated. Now, I have a lot of people that I talk to that say, I'm just going to take Social Security as early as I possibly can. I'm taking it at 62. You can't talk me out of it. And I say, okay, but here's my reason. You do whatever you want, but let's keep this in mind. So if you're going to earn $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, it typically does not make sense to begin taking Social Security that early because you're basically giving it up. You're not really going to receive any of that money where you would have gotten a benefit for letting it sit and grow.
All right, I want to remind everybody before we move forward, I want you to get the How to Retire Blueprint. The show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. Here's that phone number, 800-380-8985. The How to Retire Blueprint, 800-380-8985. Do it right now while you're thinking about it. Again, the show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm Gary Nolan, your consumer advocate. We're going through some rules and some exceptions to the rules. All right, Ben, let's talk about the exception to the rule for the Social Security benefits.
Right, so we talked about claiming as early as 62. So if you wait until 70 to claim, then your benefits have the opportunity to grow even more, adding 8% to your benefit for each full year you delay receiving Social Security benefits beyond your full retirement age. And so some people say, hey, I'm just going to wait until 70. That's what makes the most sense to me. Not so fast. We run different scenarios in our office. When you come in to get your How to Retire Blueprint, we will run a specific scenario for you. Now, some people will say, well, how can I get the most from Social Security? And I think that's the wrong way to look at it. By the way that you can get the most from Social Security is to take it at 70 and to live past 85. That's how you can get the most from Social Security. But how will Social Security help you the most, I think, is how we need to be approaching this. So there are scenarios when we have people retire at 66, have them wait 1, 2, maybe 3 years to claim at 68 or 69, not wait till 70, because of the trade-off, because of the amount of money that they're giving up, because of the amount of the investments that they'll have to use to replace the Social Security that they're not getting, and also because they don't really understand how Social Security is taxed in conjunction with all of your other income pieces. So when you come in to get your scenario, to come to do your retirement blueprint, that is what we figure out together. We want to go through some of those pieces and say, look, you can wait until 70 if you want to. Here's how the numbers will play out. But if you take it a year or two earlier, here's what will happen. Or if you take it at 63, here is the impact on your retirement. For me, I'm not somebody that learns just by reading or just by seeing. I'm what's called a kinesthetic learner. I need to be in the action. I need to play with something in order for it to make sense to me. I feel like a lot of my clients are the same way. So if we can show them their scenario, if we can work through that together, I think it'll help them be more knowledgeable about their own retirement.
Yeah, you make it more of a visual thing, Ben, saying this is exactly what's going to happen if you do this. If you take it at 63, if you take it at 67, here's exactly what's going to happen. You'll know precisely what the impact is going to have on your portfolio. You know, also, you got to worry about taxes. You can be taxed up to 85% of your Social Security, correct?
Absolutely. Or you could be taxed on none of it. I mean, look, if we have a married couple filing jointly in the state of Connecticut and they're getting $80,000 a year combined from Social Security, they're not going to be taxed on any of it because there are specific rules. There's the standard deduction. There's other pieces, but you're not going to get taxed in the state of Connecticut because your adjusted gross income is under $100,000. And because of the way that the taxation on Social Security works, that provisional income formula, you're not going to be taxed by the federal government either. Now, you start adding other pieces of income to that, pensions, IRA withdrawals, 401k, 403b, or 457 withdrawals. That will impact the amount of your Social Security that is taxed. So for us, we want to make sure that you understand the impact of any action you would take. What is the impact of taking that next $1,000 out of your IRA or 401k, and how will that make everything else taxable?
All right, let's move on to the next one. 401k withdrawals. The rule: you can begin taking penalty-free withdrawals from your 401k anytime after 59 and a half. What's the exception to the rule, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, if you're still working, you can do that. Now, the exception to the rule is special circumstances. It's called the rule of 55. So if you turn 55 or older, during the calendar year you lose or leave your job, you can begin taking distributions from your 401k without paying the early withdrawal penalty. However, you obviously have to pay taxes on those withdrawals. Now, this is interesting because in most circumstances, as a financial advisor, we recommend that our clients move their money from the 401k into an IRA so that we can have more investment options in the IRA.
Right.
This is, again, the exception to that rule. If somebody retires at 56 years old, they still have access to that 401k money. We don't want to deprive them access to a lot of their money or make them pay a penalty on it. Now, there are other rules that we can do. There are other things that we can do. There's a rule called the 72T that we can get into, but we'll save time and not jump into it now. But again, most people, unless they do a tremendous amount of research on their own, aren't going to know this stuff, which is why it's so important to talk to a retirement planning financial advisor.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody, the show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs, and we want you to get the How to Retire Blueprint, 800-380-8985. It's a comprehensive plan. There's no cost or no obligation. So what are you waiting for? Do it right now. The folks at Fuchs Financial standing by ready for your phone call. It is an independent plan just for you. All right, 800-380-8985, 800-380-8985. The How to Retire Blueprint. All right, we got time for at least one more, Ben. 401k contribution limits. All right, here's the rule. The contribution limit for a 401k is $23,000. There are exceptions, however.
There are exceptions. So if you're a 50-year-old, you can kick in an extra $7,500 annually, raising your contribution limit to $30,500. So why do you think they have this rule in place? Great question. Thank you for asking. I think when a lot of people reach a certain age, and it may not be 50, for a lot of people it may be a little bit older, but they've stopped paying, maybe hopefully for college or for other things or other pieces where they had to spend way more money on their kids, and now they can focus again on themselves and put extra money in for themselves. And so this is the ability to take advantage of that, get that extra catch-up. And depending on where you are in your retirement planning journey, you can either get a big tax deduction, or it can go to the Roth portion of your 401k and have more money go into a place where it not be taxed again, depending on where you are, would make the most sense. Now, we have a lot of people that ask us, what does make the most sense for me? What should I be doing? And the answer is, I can't tell you over the radio because I don't like giving blanket advice. I think the idea of saying everybody should put money into their Roth or everybody in their 401k is not fair. Everybody's situation is unique and will always continue to be unique. So it's our job as a financial advisor to help put your money in the right place for you. So when you come in for an appointment, when you come in for your How to Retire Blueprint, and it's not a book that we send you, it's not a pamphlet that you have to say, here, read this, good luck. It's an appointment where we go through your scenario. We go through the money that you have in your 401k, your IRA, your 457, or your 403b, the money that you saved in the bank, the expenses that you have, the risks that you're comfortable taking, the amount of fees that you're currently paying, and some of the funds that you have. We go through all of that together, and we break it down. If you put more money in the traditional, here's what you'll save now, here's what you'll pay later. If you put more money in the Roth, here's what you'll pay now, and here's what you'll save later. There are circumstances where I've recommended strongly putting it into the Roth, and the opposite where I've recommended strongly putting it into the traditional to get that tax break now. But the only way that we can help you figure that stuff out is if you come in for a free consultation. So in that consultation, what we will talk about is how to generate a monthly paycheck in retirement once you stop working from your investments, how to do that in a tax-efficient manner, the right types of investments to generate that income, and as far as estate planning, also the right types of investments for your estate planning. Do you want to leave no money behind in the next generation? Do you want to leave a lot of money behind? Do you just want to leave whatever's left over? We'll go through that and make sure that the investments that we have align with your goals. And that's what we talk about when we go through your How to Retire Blueprint.
All right, great advice, Ben. Here's that number, 800-380-8985. The first step is sit down with a financial coach. Sit down with Ben and his team at Fuchs Financial. Something we've been talking about resonates with you. You feel need to get that second opinion, or to make sure your plan is really aligned with your goals. A very important risk tolerance we talk about. 800-380-8985. That's where it all starts. Get the How to Retire Blueprint. Do it right now while you're thinking about it. one more time before we go to break. 800-380-8985, the How to Retire Blueprint. It is vitally important as you move into retirement, maybe in the red zone right now. One more time on the number, 800-380-8985. Going to take a short break. Be back with more Ben and How to Retire in just a moment. What's up next, sir?
When we come back, we have listener questions and answer as many of them as we can. Stick around.
Do you ever feel like you're fighting for financial knowledge? Don't let bad advice be a punch in the gut to your retirement. Take advantage of a complimentary, no-cost, no-obligation consultation with a local, trusted financial coach.
Call Ben Fuchs and the team at Fuchs Financial, 800-380-8985. That's 800-380-8985.
Welcome back to the show. This is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm your consumer advocate, Gary Nolan. And back with us to help you take charge of your money is Ben Fuchs. Ben is a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor professional, and fiduciary with over 20 years experience. And it is Memorial Day weekend. What do you, burgers, steaks? What are we having later today?
I think there'll be a little pool going on. You know, maybe I'll actually get to spend some time with my family. I mean,
Nice.
I love talking to you, Gary. I do have 3 kids that I like to hang out with once in a while. And assuming my back, my shoulder, and my knees hold up, I will be throwing them as far as I can up high in the air into the pool. That is the goal.
Very good. Okay, so you got the pool back there. You all said ready? The pool's ready for the summer? You ready?
Ready for the summer, ready for your whole family. You said you were bringing the kids and the grandkids. You said everybody's coming over. I can't wait.
Yeah, we got about 30 people coming. Is that
let
okay?
me know before you come. That way I can leave the house and lock everything. I appreciate that. Yeah, can't wait to have you.
We do have some questions that came in from our listeners from the phone number, 800-380-8985. By the way, that's the number for the How to Retire Blueprint. Ben will talk more about that in just a little bit. All right, so Floyd in Farmington, I'm still working, but thinking about claiming Social Security now. I'm 63. What is the downside? Oh, he must have missed the last segment. Ooh,
Floyd.
Floyd,
Well, I mean, to be fair, he probably wrote this question prior to this show. I mean, he had to. So, all right, Floyd, here's the deal. When it comes to Social Security, again, if you collect before your full retirement age and you're still working in 2024, as we said earlier, you can't make more than $22,000 and change. That's $22,320, I believe. Let me make sure I'm
you're pretty close.
$22,320. Let's get exact. We'll get exact
gotcha.
on the radio.
Yep.
So if you make more than that, you're giving up some money on Social Security. Now, a lot of people say, hey, if it's only a little bit, it's not a big deal. And look, I'm with you, but let's look at the overall plan. So let's say you end up giving half of your Social Security. You were going to get $1,000, $2,000 a month. Now you're going to get $1,000 a month. Hey, $1,000 a month is better than nothing. Sure, but do you actually need that to live and be comfortable? Or would that money better serve by having you wait to take it, by allowing you to get more of it when you actually do need to take it and you're not working part-time or when you're not still working. And then also, depending on how you take it and what you take it in conjunction with what other income that you have while taking Social Security, could allow you to get more Social Security and have it be taxed less. So I think what we really need to focus on and change the narrative of how people look at taking Social Security isn't how can I get the most from Social Security, it's how can Social Security best help me. And I think that's what we want to figure out when we do our How to Retire Blueprint, is figure out how you can be best help from Social Security.
When you talk to Ben and his team, you're not just getting, nuts and bolts of numbers. You're getting knowledge transfer, too. And that's vitally important because my brother made a big mistake. He didn't realize the fact that, he would be penalized. So he was like, 62, 63, started taking Social Security. And, he got a nice letter from the Social Security Administration saying, by the way, you owe us this amount of money, and we're going to start deducting that for the next couple of years. And, it took him a number of years to pay it back. He owed like $15,000, $20,000 in Social Security funds,
Brutal. And it's tough because the reality is that most people just don't understand all the rules and all the interplay between all these different financial things. And why should you? I mean, it's not your job, but it is ours. And so it doesn't matter how much money you make. You could have $50,000. You could have $50 million. It still makes sense for you to get a second opinion on what you have and figure out how best to help. And look, the reality is that the most people that are higher net worth understand that they need help with the stuff. It's the people that make a little bit less that sometimes have a harder time thinking they need a financial advisor or a financial planner. Look, it's important for you too. And it doesn't matter if you have less money. Don't feel bad. You can still give us a call. I mean, we help people all the time that have $3, $4, $5 million, and we help people all the time that have $30,000. If we can help you, and you feel like you don't have a plan or you don't know exactly what we're talking about, then that's a good reason to give us a call so that we can explain it to you so that you don't make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, don't be embarrassed, or, everybody's situation is different. Some people have been great savers. Some people have some difficult situations in their lives with the kids and the family and all that, and weren't able to save as much money as they like. And Ben, regardless, is going to help you out. The folks at Fuchs Financial are ready to help you, and it's going to put it all together for you. Get the How to Retire Blueprint. Here's that phone number, 800-380-8985. The How to Retire Blueprint. It's a vital part of your retirement planning. 800-380-8985. The show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm Gary Nolan, your consumer advocate. Let's get to another question. Bernie Bloomfield. Nice to hear someone explaining finances in just plain speak. That's us, I guess, huh? I enjoy your show. You talk about steady income in retirement. How do you build that?
So it's interesting, Bernie. It can be done a number of different ways. And I can say that the two most common ways are using things called notes. We like to use different notes in our planning, or using annuities. So if you're somebody that says, hey, look, I don't really care about leaving money behind to the next generation. I want to guarantee as much money as I possibly can for myself. That's when using an annuity would make some sense. There are annuities out there that we've seen that have paid people 6%, 7%, 8% a year guaranteed for life based on the amount of money that goes into that annuity. And of course, every year that they wait to take from that annuity, almost like Social Security, that value goes up and then it has a higher payout. But now keep in mind that will drain the account. That money can still grow. If you die early, that money will pass on to the next generation. But look, if you live another 15 years, there should be nothing left in that account. Whatever you put into that annuity, don't plan to pass on to the next generation for that particular account. You want to drain that sucker dry and get as much money from it as you can. That's the goal. Now, if your goals are different, if you want to leave money to the next generation, or you just don't like the idea of not passing on any of the money that you've worked so hard to gain, an annuity like that just doesn't make sense. That's why annuities just aren't right for everyone. So there are certain types of notes that we use that we can generate 6, 7, 8% a year after our fee, thank you very much, where you can get that money consistently and paid out to you on a consistent basis. You have $500,000, you're getting 8% a year. We can generate $40,000 a month, broken down monthly, or let's take $30,000 a year, because I can do that math in my head very quickly. That's $2,500 a month. So you can get that $2,500 a month as long as the market doesn't go down by a crazy, crazy amount. So there are certain things that we can do where we can generate consistent income and then have a backup plan for when that piece fails, right? Mm-hmm. Think about, not that I want to think about your retirement like a nuclear power plant, but how many safeguards do you think there are in these nuclear power plants? Like, how many different things do they have? I mean, let's just assume that you're not Chernobyl here.
Yeah,
but
thank you
right?
very much.
I mean, because I know that's the first thing that comes in mind.
It did, yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Right. So, assuming we're not that, we need to have a backup plan. Hey, if this doesn't work, we're getting our money from this. And if this doesn't work, here's where you're getting money. And if things are going great, we're going to take our money from this bucket. But you need to have a plan like that. That's how we feel like we can get our clients a better overall rate of return without having to be way too conservative or way too risky. The goal is to figure out how we can get you the most money in retirement and make sure that you can sleep at night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bernie, there's a lot we don't know about you. We don't know your age. We don't know if you're still working. We don't know what investments you have. All these things Ben and his team are going to ask you when they meet with you, because the plan is customized, individual, just for you. Here's that phone number for Bernie and Floyd and everybody else listening, 800-380-8985. That's where it all starts. Get the How to Retire Blueprint, 800-380-8985. The show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm Gary Nolan, your consumer advocate. Time for one more, maybe two, Ben. Let's see what we can do here. Suzanne in Stanford. I'm 73 years away from RMDs. What can I do now? What can we do?
I'm 70 and 3 years away from R&Ds. What can I do now? You can play pickleball, Suzanne.
I love this. What can I do now?
Well, so it depends. Here's what I would say. If you're going to be taking required distributions, money that you're forced to take from your IRA or your 401k, money that you got a tax deduction for putting in, that's typically the money you have to pull out. So are you already taking that money? Right? Let's say you have $1 million in your 401k. Are you already taking out about $40,000 a year from your IRAs? And if you are, great. You don't really need to do anything. You're going to be taking that money anyway. It doesn't need to be a stressor for you. But if you are not, and you're going to be taking more money from your retirement accounts than you're going to need, then we should have a conversation about planning ahead, looking at doing things like Roth conversions, at least having the conversation to see if it makes sense for you, what the tax impact will be. That way you won't have any surprises. And a lot of cases, there are things that we can clean up in your retirement account so that we can switch the income that you're generating from being dividends or interest to being these RMDs that you're going to be forced to take. That way you don't have too much income coming in. We can make sure that your plan is efficient.
All right, let's squeeze in one more. Anthony in Avon. I am automatically enrolled in my company's 401k years ago. I'm 55, plan to retire at 65. Is there anything I should be doing right now to help me get into retirement? Well, we don't have a lot of time, Ben, but quickly, what can we do for Anthony?
Okay. So look, Anthony, when you were automatically enrolled in your company's 401k years ago, you were likely automatically enrolled in something called a target retirement date fund, which says that as you get older, it sells more stocks and it buys more bonds. Great. Set it and forget it. I don't have to worry about it, right? No. I hate these plans. So, again, he's getting my hot buttons today. Gary likes to pick topics, the 4% rule, target retirement date funds. But here's the deal. What you have now is that you need to begin that process of separating your money out from being all in a couple of growth-style mutual funds or stable value funds, depending on what you're in, to being more diversified. We need to have places that don't go down when the market goes down. You need to have things that aren't just stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You need to have a separate plan. But look, that's why we offer a How to Retire Blueprint. Most people say, well, that's great, Ben. I have no idea how to do that. I don't blame you. I wouldn't have any idea how to do that on your own. It's not like I go to the mechanic and he tells me, go, change your axle or whatever it is that I'm supposed to do. I don't have a clue how to do that. I go to the mechanic so the mechanic will do that for me. People come to retirement planning so that we can help you do this stuff, so that we can figure out what you need to do, so that we can take all the action that you need to take in from you. I just had a client of 6 years email me and say, hey, Ben, I want to begin taking money from my IRA now. Do I just go to Schwab and take care of that myself? Absolutely not. That's what we're here for. We take care of that for you. We withhold the taxes. We calculate that stuff. We make sure that you get it. We take care of the investments. Don't do that yourself. That's a pain in the, anyway.
Yeah, right.
But that's what we're here for. So I think what you need to do right now, Anthony, is really focus on breaking your money down into 3 different components. But that's what we help all of our clients do, is figure out the amount of risk they can take, the amount of income that they will need, and how they can still have plenty of money in that growth bucket to plan for inflation and future goals and everything else that comes along in life. Our goal with the How to Retire Blueprint is to give you peace of mind as you enter retirement, and so that you can enjoy it and have money be one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, Floyd, Bernie, Suzanne, Anthony, thank you so much for your questions today. And everybody else listening, here's that phone number, the How to Retire Blueprint. Call right now, 800-380-8985. We still have a limited number of availabilities on our calendar this week. And remember, the consultation is offered at no cost or no obligation. 800-380-8985, the How to Retire Blueprint. Get it right now. Folks at Fuchs Financial are standing by, ready for your phone call. Well, the show has blown right on by. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. We hope you found the information we presented helpful. Look forward to all of you being back next week. We'll have new topics and new questions right here on How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. Ben, my friend, I enjoyed it. You go enjoy your holiday weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.
Same to you, sir. Much appreciated.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, hereafter known as Foundations, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment, opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor situation is different, and ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio of securities, or investment strategy is suitable for any person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement, tax, and legacy planning strategies with a legal or tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategy discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, or any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. All rights reserved.